Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. Folks, I got a message from a subscriber that lives on Maui underneath one of my videos, and it concerned me greatly. He said, Sam, I'm a retired veteran. I fought for the United States, but Lahaina victims have just been told they will be unable to return to their land. So let me repeat that to you folks. I had a subscriber tell me who lives in Maui that Lahaina victims have just been notified they will be unable to rebuild their homes. Now, I don't have any other context to it, but I take everything at face value, especially when somebody lives on the island and has been following me for a while. I recognize their name and their comments, and some people more than others are trustworthy. Believe it or not, I've had thousands of people claim to live on Maui and give misinformation. I think some people just are psychotic and they do that for attention. Hey, Etta B. Hi. I'm glad you're with me today too, love. All right, so the Lahaina land grab, folks, is real. Just got word from a subscriber that the Lahaina victims have been told they will be unable to rebuild. That is all I've gotten so far. I don't know the context, but it got me busy. You guys know how I am. Sam got busy. I started digging. Okay. Found an article November 17th of 2023. Lahaina land grab rumors reveal an erosion of trust. And this article was publicized in the Hawaii Public Radio. And it says, when a devastating wildfire swept through Lahaina, residents found connection. But they also found a rumor claiming that FEMA would see property owners who applied for. While the rumor is false, it revealed an erosion of trust between the community and the government. Now, weird. And let me explain to you why this is weird. This was done November 2023. What I found, folks, is mind-blowing. So it goes on to say that the rumor mill, one rumor trending on social media claimed that individuals who applied for disaster assistance could have their land seized by FEMA through eminent domain. If you're unfamiliar with eminent domain, it is simply the government has the right to come in and seize private property under the use. Oh, Etta B said officials were talking about this back around the holidays, supposedly due to toxic soil. Right. If you're here, guys, hit the thumbs up, drop a comment. Let me know who you are and where you're from. Eminent domain allows the government to take private property for a public purpose, provided that FEMA, whose powers are laid out in the Stafford Act, does not have eminent domain power. All right. Now remember that, because this article goes on to bring something into effect. Remember, I have a subscriber from the island of Maui who just informed me Lahaina residents have been told they will be unable to rebuild. All right. They will be unable to rebuild. That just came out. That's breaking news. Let me go on and explain something to you guys. All right. So eminent domain can clerky, folks. A dispute over the public use argument in an eminent domain claim on Oahu resulted in a landmark U.S. Supreme Court case, Hawaii Housing Authority versus Midkiff. Eddie, I'm from Vermont, an hour from Canada. Oh, I bet it's so beautiful. I have always wanted to Vermont and see the fall leaves change, always. All right, guys. In 1967, the Hawaii legislature passed the Land Reform Act as a concentration of land ownership in Oahu among a handful of large landowners. So we already know and the rich that come and purchase up thousands of acres of land, right? And private companies are doing it now also as an investment. So the act allowed leaseholders with homes on privately held land to petition the Hawaii Housing Authority to condemn the land under their house. Oh, thank you, Eddie. Look, girl, I might take you up. I'm all about visiting at people's houses. All right, so here's now listen to me say that again, folks. The act allowed leaseholders with homes on privately held land. So that's saying Sam owns 2 acres. I give you a half an acre and I lease it to you for 30 or 50 years, which is the normal lease length in Hawaii, 30 to 50 years. You build a home. The end of our lease agreement, the land is still mine. Okay. And if I don't renew your lease, the home ownership. But there was a group of people that decided as leaseholders, they wanted to be able to petition the Hawaii Housing Authority to condemn the land under their house. And do you guys see a problem with that? I'm just curious, because basically that's a way to steal someone's land from them. Okay. Hey, Tammy. Oh, I'm so glad you're here too, friend. So what we're discussing is I just got notified through a subscriber of this channel that the Lahaina fire victims will not be allowed to rebuild on their land. In fact, they are probably going to, he's going to reach out to me. I asked him to email me so I can get some more information, because guess what? It's nowhere in right, Solomon. They can do this to anyone. They can do this to anyone, folks. This is what eminent domain is, which is one of the biggest and main issues I ever had with Trump and any of the current people that are running for president, is they all approve of eminent domain. It is simply a way for government or corporations to come in and take your hard-earned land or inherited land. Okay? So what we're discussing is the fact that now the Lahaina fire victims are being told they will not be able to rebuild on their. It's pretty darn serious, folks. All right? We all agree that this fire was most likely not an accident. And we've all said from the beginning, this is nothing but a what? Type it. Everybody knows what it is. This is nothing but, hey, Leslie. Hey, Deneen. Miss Sanders. It's nothing but a what? You guys type it in comment. I'll read it when somebody tells me what they're doing there. So the housing authority could sell the land back to the petitioner, who would own both land and home. Although the state was condemning land that belonged to one private party only to sell it to another private party, they argued in front of the Supreme Court of the United States that the act met the requirements of the public use clause because the legislature intended to create more equity in the housing market. Land grab. Good job, Peacorns. Hey, Ms. Rita. Land grab. That's what I'm talking about. This is what we all knew they were going to do. It's a planned event, sacrifice. That's great, you guys. We have all said it from the beginning. They're never going to let these people rebuild their homes. They burnt it, and somehow, some way, they're going to take the land. I got a message underneath one of my most current videos about Maui today from a gentleman that was in the military for years. So he's a veteran that lives on Maui. And he said, Sam, word just came out. The Lahaina victims are not going to be allowed to rebuild on their land. That's what this video is about. So I went digging, seeing if I could find anything official saying that. What I found blew my mind. Hey, Brian, working in San Diego. Be safe, friend. Ooh, wouldn't want to be around there. All right. So we're talking about a 1967 Supreme Court decision. Check entertainers on the Moloch connection. I'm not sure what that is, Solomon. You might have to give me more information, Bryn. The United States Supreme Court justices unanimously sided with the Hawaii state and the Land Reform Act, was viewed at the time as a big win for affordable housing. All right, let me just bring the point. Oh, I got a hair that keeps getting in my face. Let me bring something. This was in 1967. We're in 2024. Hey, anybody that's been to Hawaii or lives on that island, is there affordable housing there? Because that's what this was touted across to people as. Oh, this is going to give people affordable housing, right? Allow us to steal people's land that you build a house on that you're leasing from, then condemn it, then give it back to you with the house. But that's going to help create affordable housing. That was in 1967. I think it did the opposite. Wouldn't you all agree? There's nothing affordable on any of those islands, folks. But the case set a precedent that had lasting ramifications for eminent domain. All right? It pretty much destroyed any argument about public use. Unless they are making a public use argument that is literally impossible, Callies contends that governments more or less have free rein in claiming eminent domain. Callies is a professor at the University of Hawaii in the School of Law. He says that people who are worried that they may be vulnerable to eminent domain have no legal recourse. Oh, Leslie said there's a bit of buffering. I apologize, you guys. The weather's getting bad here. Thank you, D-Man. Thank you. Right. You have to meet requirements, same as welfare, basically broke selling drugs in Waikiki to tourists. I bet y'all get a lot of drug heads wanting to smoke weed and chill out in Hawaii. I guarantee that happens all the time. All right, so this is the reality for Lahaina property owners, folks. While they all cited instances of eminent domain abuse, the experts agreed that the constitutional power can benefit the public. There are some cases of local governments using eminent domain in the wake of a disaster to relocate public hospitals or to construct barriers against flooding. Okay. Last year, Maui County Council even recommended using eminent domain. You don't know who Peter Martin is. Okay. That's right, Miss Tammy. It's all a land grab. If you don't know who Peter Martin is, let me introduce you to this swine. Okay. Now, did some videos on Peter Martin last year after my October trip because I was shocked. Peter Martin is a developer, all right? He is the owner of, let me find the name of it so I don't give it to you wrong. I'm going to read you the article from Grist. Just weeks after the deadliest wildfire in modern U.S. history ripped through the coastal town of Lahaina, Native Hawaiian taro farmers, environmental narrow conference room in Honolulu for a state water commission hearing. You guys remember seeing that because I played some of it. Brush Junkie played some of it. Eric West played some of it. It was everywhere. The course of criticism, hours. People urged commissioners to reinstate the official who had been key to water regulations and to resist corporate pressure to weaken those regulations. Been telling you guys, there's a water to where all the tourists are. Okay? Really bad, folks. The developer, Peter Martin, has been called the face of evil in Lahaina and public enemy number one. I know, Tammy, everybody feels angry, but this has to come out, folks. The truth has to come out. They're telling the Lahaina fire victims they will not be allowed. You came from the fact, I understand that. Yes. When you're around a gang of people, a mob, the commissioners just listen to the mob. They don't listen to reasoned voices. I'm not comparing these people to Hitler. I'm just saying Hitler got people involved by hating the Jews. That's what Peter Morton said, okay? Morton, who is 76, has been controversial. He moved to Maui. He began teaching high school math, waiting tables. Then he began to invest in real estate, all right? Over the last 5 decades, Morton has made millions of dollars off his real estate boom, building a development empire on West Maui and turning hundreds of acres of plantation land into a paradise of homes and swimming pools. You're in a water war, surrounded by the ocean, but people have swimming pools. Never understand it. He owns or holds interest in nearly 3 dozen companies that touch almost every aspect of the home building process. Now, this is important. I need you to put your ears on, okay, guys? I'm going to repeat that. He owns or holds interest in nearly 3 dozen companies that touch almost every aspect of the home building process, okay? Companies that buy vacant land, companies that submit developmental plans to local governments, companies that build houses, companies that sell water to residents. His real estate brokerage helps find buyers for homes built on his island, on his land. And he's even got a company that builds swimming pools. Companies associated with Morton own more than 5,500 acres of land around Lahaina, all right? West Maui, which is home to 25,000 people. All right, so he has donated $1.3 million to Grassroots Institute of Hawaii, a libertarian think tank that has fought Native Hawaiian sovereignty. He fights against the king that we're going to meet, folks. He is enemy number 1. He is so invested in this island, his hands. See, everybody knows the big names. Nobody ever talks about this dude. Everybody focused on Oprah and Zuckerberg and Bezos. Nah, he's the real devil in all of this, folks. Can y'all hear me well enough? Because the weather's getting bad. I may need to do this another day. Somebody type in chat if you can hear me clearly, please. All right. So, however, the negative response to the rumor. Oh, thank you, Peacorns. The negative response to the rumor involving FEMA and eminent domain suggests that residents would be highly skeptical of a state or county effort to acquire land in Lahaina. When reached for comment on the use of eminent domain in Lahaina, Governor Josh Green's office said that there is currently no discussion or direction on this topic. The county of Maui simply did not respond. Attorney Lance Collins said that many people will likely lose their land in Lahaina regardless of whether the government gets involved or not. Folks, this was written in November of 2023. We are currently discussing. I was sent information this morning stating the Lahaina fire victims will not be allowed to rebuild. Before you get to the point where you have government seizing land, Collins said, people basically have to give up their land because they just can't afford to rebuild. Collins is advocating for the governor to pass a foreclosure moratorium that would pause mortgage payments for the next 3 years. A federal foreclosure moratorium was in place until May of 2024 for certain federally backed loans. Not everybody got it, and it ended May 1st. Only specific loan types could get the moratorium on their mortgage payments. What are we talking about? Even if the house burned down, folks, if you owe a mortgage, it's a death pledge. You still have to pay that mortgage off, even if the home is no longer in existence. Okay? So people, y'all, they're not going to let them rebuild. This is the biggest land grab in all of history. And I want to be on the side of history that stood against it. Yes, peak horns, it is sick. I want people to say one day that that woman from South Louisiana would not shut up. She went back. She met with the king. Speaking of the king, I am praying and prayed last night with some of his delegation that enough money will come in that we can buy tickets for the king and Stephen and I to go to Honolulu to walk the palace, which he owns the deed to, but he can't live in because the state owns it as a museum. Yeah. So you've got the biggest land, one of the biggest, not landowners, but businessmen here that donated $1.3 million to the Grassroots Institute of Hawaii, a libertarian think tank that has fought Native Hawaiian sovereignty. So extensive is the reach of his land empire that the command center for the response to the August wildfires is located on land owned by a company in which he has a stake. What did I tell y'all yesterday? The guy that was running that command center was just indicted, right, on raping a 12-year-old kid for 2 years. So the fire chief that was running the command center was indicted during the August fires. He's been indicted. The building the command center was being run out of is owned by a company that this guy that we're talking about owns. All right, guys, it's so, Peter Martin's so evil. It's so bad. So, okay, again, let me read it. So extensive is the reach of his land empire that Peter Martin owned a company who owns the land that the August fires command center was located on. Okay. Thanks, Peacorns. Sorry, Etta B. Love you too, babe. No sound, Sam. Can you, anybody? Etta B says she does. Try again, friend. The weather's getting bad. I may have to hop off and come back on when it passes. Somebody tell me if you can hear me. Can somebody hear me? Okay. So Nikki says they can hear me. Everybody says they can hear me. All right. Development on Maui, where the median home price now exceeds $1 million, often sparks controversy. And Martin is far from the only builder who has inspired opposition. Okay. He is persistently pushing back against water regulations intended to protect Native Hawaiian rights. He has invoked particularly passionate distaste about many locals. Okay. And that was before the wildfires. Just 2 days after the outbreak of a blaze that would go on to kill over 100 people, fueled in part by invasive grasses on Martin's vacant land, right? An executive at one of Martin's companies sent a letter to the State Water Commission. Glenn Trimble, who works for West Maui Lands Company, wrote that the company's request to fill its reservoirs on the day of the fire had been delayed by the state. He also asked the commission to loosen water regulations during the fire recovery. We anxiously awaited the morning, knowing that we could have made more water available to the Maui Fire Department if our request had been immediately approved, he wrote. Trimble's letter implied that a state official key into implementing local water regulations and the first Native Hawaiian to lead the State Water Commission had impeded firefighting efforts. He soon walked back the claim, but his first letter had immediate effect. The state attorney general launched an investigation into the official. Do y'all know who he's talking about? Andias. You remember the water guy that turned the water off in the fire? Yeah. It says here that it didn't help that within weeks, when the Washington Post asked about the role the invasive grasses on Martin's land played in the deadly wildfire, Martin said he believed the fire was the result of God's anger over the state water restrictions. Folks, you cannot make this up. This man literally told the whole world that Maui burned because God was angry that he couldn't have the water that he wanted. And that if the state would have filled up his reservoirs as he petitioned the day before the fire, there would have been more water available to put the fires out. I'm just saying, the fire was on purpose. That's what Miss Rita said. Wow. Okay, so I'm hearing it's going in and coming out. So this is what I'm going to do, folks. This is too important for me to have interference with the weather. We're going to come back to this topic this afternoon. How about that? How about we come back at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time? Let's try 1:30. 1:30, we're going to come back here Central Standard Time, and maybe the weather would have passed, okay? Because this is too important for me to be going in and out and people losing sound. You need to understand that the connection here is so very deep. Like I said, folks, please row in our boat to get back to Maui. Even if you can only send $1, please do so. We have multiple ways. We have the Give, Send, Go. When I turn this chat off, what I'm going to do is drop in comments the ways that you can donate to the strip. Please help us be able to give these people money, the fire victims. Yeah, Tammy said it's breaking up. Nikki said, okay, perfect. I'll be back. Till then, love you, lovely lady. Love y'all too. Be back here, folks, 1:30 Central Standard Time today, Friday, May 31st. This is unreal. All right. We're going to go through it quickly when I come back, but I'm going to finish telling you that I have been recently notified that the Lahaina fire victims will not be allowed to rebuild. And I'm going to build for you guys the whole picture. It's stunning, folks, what they've done to these people. We cannot ignore it. It's not just one person. All right. It's everyone. There was a native website that hosted drag queen shows tied to the water guy. Ooh, I did not see that, Solomon. I did not. All right. I love you guys. Be back in an hour and a half. God bless y'all. Stay safe. The weather's going nuts here.